Welcome back to D Game. We're here today with Zach, a friend of mine. He's pretty much an entrepreneur. He's doing pretty good. He's got a bunch of things going on, and we're going to find out about him and a lot of the things he does to, be financially successful and just understand the drive that he's got going on. There's a little bit of what I want to do to start with is get some background on him, at least for you guys can understand who he is and kind of, what made him what he is to a certain point. And then I want to talk about his businesses. You guys seriously need to check that stuff out. It's actually pretty neat. He's got a little thing for everybody, but if you'd like, introduce yourself, obviously, Zach. We're, like say, born here, or where'd you come from? Your family? What's your background?
It's a funny story, honestly.
Oh, I love stories.
It's got to start with my grandpa and the Vietnam War.
Oh, no.
Oh, yeah. So my grandpa's fighting in the Vietnam War, and a beautiful little Vietnamese lady goes, "That's a punji trap." Points out a punji trap, and he goes, "I'm going to marry that one."
Well, yeah, you got to do that once in a while, especially like, hey.
Yeah, so,
how you doing?
Points out, provided value of, not him dying in the Vietnam War.
Yeah.
My mom popped out there. They, towards the fall of, the good side of Vietnam, they got flown out to Guam during the Tet Offensive, and I was born there in Guam. My mom was born in Vietnam as well. And they got to Guam. My mom's a naturalized citizen, so I'm a first generation on my mom's side. And I was born in Guam. We lived there for a while, which is a little tiny island, from like Japan, Australia. Guam is like right here.
Yep, and then Guam is actually a territory.
Yep.
For the United States. People don't know, but it's something to do with, if I remember right, it's World War II, something.
Spanish-American War.
Spanish-American, there you go.
Yeah, we not stole the island. We won it fair and square.
Yeah, we've never stole anything. I mean, I haven't stolen much anything.
Well, I mean, the Cubans might say differently about Guantanamo, but I mean.
I think a lot of people will say a lot of things about Guantanamo. Be like, come down here and see our nice, fancy, see this board? See all this water? We got a waterfall. It's fun.
It's not.
It's a new ride.
I ever tell you that, there's a new name for waterboarding.
Oh, no.
It's called tactical baptism.
That's fucked up.
But, we moved to the States afterwards, California for a bit, and then we moved all over the Midwest. My father was in the military before my parents split. And, I've been in a town as big as Omaha and as small as New York, Missouri. 42 kids, K through 12.
Oh, my God.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah, it was hilarious. I found out that you don't pee on an electric fence outside of school.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I learned that stuff, but we did it on purpose because we were dumb. And, you got to find out.
I was a city kid. I didn't know better. And then, Marcus, the guy the house my mom was renting from, he's like, "Hey, you should go pee on the fence or something. You got to do it if you're a man. That's what my dad tells me to do." And I believed him.
Oh, yeah. That was a great idea.
No, it was not a great idea.
It was. That's what we were all told is a great idea. But I think for some weird reason, I don't get it. I really don't. I still don't to this day. And I'm the one we have to know. For some reason, we just have. It doesn't matter if there's an electric fence in the freaking 200 miles from anybody. There'll be a line of like teenage kids over there pissing on it to see.
Absolutely. I mean, how many times are we told don't touch something, and we go, "I'm gonna touch it." we have to know. It's a natural instinct.
There's a lot of things. It's like, women like, I'm gonna touch that.
Oh yeah. I shouldn't touch that. And when you do, and then all of a sudden half your assets are gone, and you're like, "What's going on?"
It's gonna be a lot better once you get you go and like, I'm gonna touch that, and I'm gonna do this, and like. Sometimes, it takes a few hours, like wee hours of the morning and 4 or 5 tequila shots, and then you might do it.
then it might happen.
Then it might happen.
Right.
But what do you like? I want to talk about your businesses a little bit because you got kind of interesting. I mean, it's kind of stuff I'm into, so I kind of like it. You got, I guess a card and collectible shop to a point, but come on, it's nerd shop.
It's
nerd
a
shop.
straight nerd shop. It's Rabbit's Den Gaming in Brookings, South Dakota, 424th Street. And we sell Pokemon cards, Magic the Gathering, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, which surprised me that it was still around. But there's a competitive scene. People are playing it, and it's nowhere near as expensive to get into as like Magic or Pokemon. We also do like Dungeons and Dragons. It's a big hit. We got a big back room in the air, fog machine, the works. So when people want to introduce their characters, they're like, do the fog, psh, the elf barbarian or whatever.
Yep. You got, you did the, with your new cards and stuff. You were telling me you got, I think you sent me, I seen a snap or whatever. You got a whole sheet uncut.
Oh yeah. That's from, so there was a thing in the past where you ordered something from Wizards of the Coast, right? And I think it was a secret layer, I think is what they called it, and they couldn't deliver. Like, oh, we messed up. We're sorry. We oversold, and they sent my brother Alan this big, giant, uncut sheet of cards, foil mythics, right? And like the less expensive ones go for like $800. The more expensive ones go for 1,500 or so, and then you can get them framed, and they look really cool. My brother Alan was a sly dog. He didn't accept do you accept this? But they sent it to him anyways. And then he's like, oh, hey, I didn't send that. Agree to your terms. If you send me another one, I'll accept it. So we got 2 of those now. I've got one in a big old roll and another one that's framed right now. And this is going to go straight into my office.
Yeah, them ain't for sale.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
In 10, 15 years, it's gotta be priceless.
Then they might be for sale.
Yeah, always got to pad their retirement somehow.
There's always a limit to what, there's always a price for everything.
Yeah, I think we've all heard an offer that you can't refuse.
Yes, and now like I say, you got Pokemon or Pokemon. I always screw that up, but my kids are big into it. There's like special tins and special cards and stuff like that, and you kind of got a line to get all that stuff, and you get it into the store, so you have it there, and or you can find a way to get it.
I'll give a good example. We've got the latest set for Magic the Gathering came out, with a completed edition. So there's like it's called Phyrexia All Will Be One. They've got their collector boxes and everything, but there's a special completed edition. And my distributor only gave us 7, but we had more of our clients that wanted some. So I've got friends in like Target and Walmart that'll tell me when they come in, and I went out there for my clients. I hit because they're paying me good money to do this stuff. So I'll go out there and I'll find them, or I've got old Magic cards that aren't printed anymore. They're called reserve lists. Like Wizards of the Coast deals with litigation. Every time they try and print something similar to those cards, a bunch of nerds who are like, these are on the reserve list, we're suing you, pop up, and boom, litigation. But I can find those cards, and I can get them to them at a decent price. I'd negotiate on their behalf, and I don't even take a cut if they buy from my store. I negotiated a deal on some Bayous. Those are anywhere, like the cheapest one for a damaged one is like $280. Like creased or water damaged. I negotiated a deal for 2 of them for $600, and they weren't that damaged.
That you get just saying, if somebody let's say you get your when your orders are coming in, when you get deliveries and whatever, if somebody's looking for something and they call like 2 days, week before you're supposed to, they're supposed to come in or whatever, would you hold them or I guess not hold it, would you pre-sell it? Basically.
It depends on how much money they spend at my store.
So it depends on the traffic and how much.
Yeah, I mean, let's be honest here. When it comes to making money, the people who make you the most money deserve most of your attention.
True.
We call them whales. It doesn't mean we treat all the other guys disrespectfully, because they're still our customers. They deserve every respect they get. They've earned it. They're spending money at the store. They're playing the games here. They're trying to win when we're doing game nights and stuff. You know, they also put their hard-earned money into it. But there's some customers there that I've walked in, and the guy, he was like, hey, you know, I'll buy half if this guy buys half, and I'll be like, hey, you know, you want to buy half of this if he buys half? And boom, that was $3,000 right there that day, all because they were competing within each other. So the next time they're like, hey, yeah, that Dominaria remastered's coming out. Can I pre-order a pack? Me and my brother were like, absolutely. Well, a box, like, yeah, absolutely. We'll talk with our distributors and we'll make sure you get one.
See, and that'll go teach you guys. Frequent the store, spend a little money, get to know them, talk to them, and the more you're there, you get special treatment. I mean, guess it wouldn't be special treatment, but you get, you treat them well, they're going to treat you well. That's the way the world works.
Mm-hmm.
It's and if you get your, like, now you're like, say you got Dungeons and Dragons, not just like cards and stuff, but you got games, you got the books, the actual, like, now I'm talking okay, I'm an old school nerd. So we did the old school Dungeons and Dragons. I mean, if I had those things, that I had the big hardcovers, and I mean, I had stacks of them.
Mm-hmm.
If I had that stuff now, man, I'd be rich. I think they just got thrown away, or gave them to a friend, or whatever the deal was.
That's what usually happens, man. You don't know you're on a treasure trove until it's too late half the time.
Well, most of the stuff that I dealt with, as a kid, it was just average crap. I mean, we never thought it would be worth anything. I mean, obviously, maybe if they came out with a special edition of something, we knew that it might be worth a little something, but for the most part, it was just your average stuff, and nobody collected anything really. And I mean, they collected, some people. I mean, I'm a nerd, but the people that collect stamps are a little weird.
I've never understood that one.
No, they're definitely strange.
Yeah, or like China,
Oh yeah,
dishes and stuff. I don't understand that, but some people make a killing on it, just like the people with the stamps. I don't understand it, but they can do it.
Yeah, they obviously know what they're doing, because I mean, whatever they make.
They found their niche.
Yeah,
a physical niche where they could physically see the money coming their way, and they took it. They took advantage of it, and they took charge.
Oh yeah,
I can't blame them. But doesn't change the fact that I'm like, those are stamps, bro. And they're like, nah, that's a money bag, bro. So
I mean, everybody looks at the nerds. I mean, we're all nerds, but everybody looks at the nerds and they're like, hey, you're a nerd. But then they see the guy collecting stamps, and you're like, you're a nerd, but you got some problems.
Right. As long as, there's two types of nerds. There's the ones like me or you, who you enjoy our Dungeons and Dragons. We get out the dice trays, we make our characters, and we, roll to see if we can get that critical hit. And then there's that guy who doesn't shower for 3 weeks, smells funny, and he's like, oh, my waifu, her voice actor's coming to town. I can't wait to meet her.
Well,
tips fedora.
Yep, that's definitely the stamp collector.
That is definitely the stamp collector.
But now with the Dungeons and Dragons and stuff, that you say you have a room in the back, where
we kick it old school.
Yeah, exactly. See, now, because a lot of people do it online, or they kind of do their thing where they get together for a Zoom and whatever,
Discord,
but
like that.
But it's hard to do when to do it old. I mean, the old way is the best, man. That was fun. I mean,
there is something about the taciturn, just throwing the dice,
oh yeah,
in your fate, not some computer model.
Exactly.
And when you get to look at everybody, or like if you're the DM and you're like, the old man tells you, you'll never find the children down here. And you go, all right, I'd like to roll for investigation. The DM goes, okay, cool. And you roll that nat 20 and you literally see 2 feet sticking out from under the dude's man skirt or whatever.
Yep.
And you're like, found the kids. And then you murder the bad guy in the game.
Yep. So you get, so the deal is like, say, hey, you definitely have to check out your store, because there's more to it than just wandering around. I mean, you guys come up with some really interesting things. There's always something new coming in, and they got, plus you can, Is it reserved times, for wanting to do that in the back, or you got set
So
times that you guys are going to do all that?
we've got like so we have some DMs that change in out. They decide when they want to come in. It's generally like Wednesdays and Thursdays. We had one of our DMs just recently leave because he's going to become the master of props for a company in Virginia. I think it is West Virginia or Virginia. His name was Rory. Dude was a master magician when it comes to this stuff. You remember my Doug Dimmadome outfit?
Oh yeah.
He was the one who made it.
You're gonna have to send me that, and I'll put it up on the stand.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, he was the one who made it. He's a prop master. He went to college for it, and he's getting paid decent money for making Doug Dimmadome hats and for plays and stuff like that. The Doug Dimmadome hat was an insult to his skill because he's made like Lord of the Rings stuff. He's 3D printed stuff at the store. Like we've got a dice set where it's a big dragon mouth, right? Just huge, and its teeth are dice. So you can go up to the dragon's mouth and roll them. It's insane. But yeah, so like Thursdays, Wednesdays, we're doing one shots that you can come in for. And then if you want to host one yourself, like if you're a DM and you're up in Brookings and you want free knowledge, like somebody who already has all the books, we have them all. And you want to try DMing a game for your friends, come on in. Free 99. You're not going to have to, you're going to bring value to our store by having fun in the back. So go ahead, learn how to DM or play if you want, and you can come out and hang out. So,
well, that'd be a lot of fun because, I mean, it's getting bigger and bigger because now they're coming out with the new Dungeons and Dragons movie.
Okay, never mind. Wrong.
The new movie coming, so that I don't know if that's going to drive more traffic or not. I've seen the trailers. I actually went to John Wick 4 here, when it first day it came out, and so I watched the trailers to it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It might not be my taste, but maybe today's kids will really enjoy it.
I hope it gets because it's a live action, right?
Yep.
I hope that they do well in it. But what happens every time from fantasy from childhood happens and they put it into a live action, generally doesn't quite hit the mark. But I do what the best thing I can do is hope. I hope it does.
I still think I wish that they would do something along that lines, which would be fine. But I would like it myself more to be kind of more along the lines of Lord of the Rings, because I think that really worked out. I think everybody really loved that movie. It was great.
Who doesn't? Thousands upon thousands of like actual people, that battles, some of them were CGI, but they had a lot of real people, and then they CGI'd, the stuff in the back. Who doesn't like that? That's real.
Yep.
You can, with CGI, which is really good these days, you can fake a lot. But when you get that real feeling of, a grand story, and a little hobbit to try and get the ring in there, you just can't beat it,
Yep.
It's the grand story is so much different than today's stories, which are like immediate gratification and stuff.
Oh yeah. It's the deal with the new stuff. Like I say, that if we had movies like we do today, back when I was a kid, man, you guys would, you do, because you can watch it, the stuff from when I was younger. You watch them and you make fun of them. I mean, but they was cool shit back then. I don't care what anybody says. That was some badass stuff. And nowadays, it couldn't compare. So I would like to see. I don't think it. I mean, I think the acting, I think the production, I think everything is going to be very, very upscale on the new movie. But I a lot of the parts I've seen, there's going to be a lot of comedy in it. So I don't know if that's going to flow, because I just don't know. Maybe I'll just wait.
Dungeons and Dragons campaigns, there's always the comedian.
Oh yeah.
So hopefully they're mimicking that. And hopefully they're not putting any just like dumb messages in the background,
Yeah.
Like if they're going to make it a movie about D&D, make it a movie about D&D. Don't do some silly thing about how people shouldn't wear leather shoes because they're killing cows or something,
Oh yeah. Yeah. None of this, man. I'm just so sick of
And the
this.
activism and
Oh man,
making a movie. Don't make it an activist.
exactly. I mean, in every movie anymore, I mean, not every movie, but there's always something. Yet you always see the damn billboards in the back that are specific for a reason. They weren't there just by chance. I mean, they do that on purpose, and I get really sick of it really quick. I'll even walk out. I'm just tired of it. I'm there to be entertained. I'm not there to deal with political crap. I'm not there to deal with your views on stuff. I'm there to get away. I don't want to deal with it. Just let me be entertained for 2 hours.
Yeah.
And then I'll deal with life.
When you're watching these movies or you're reading these books or manga online or whatever, you're doing that to escape reality. That's why you're playing Dungeons and Dragons. You're playing this fantasy role-playing game to escape the mundane or sometimes hectic things of life. And if they can keep it that way, I think they'll succeed.
Oh yeah. Like, well, at least your store, has been doing fairly well.
It has been. It has been.
So that's actually huge. I mean, that's part of what we're kind of getting into here is the financial part of being successful, and he is very successful. I mean, we ain't talking $100 million or nothing, but he started from nothing, and he's successful. Owns his own business, got a great job. Actually, you are moving on to even a better job, and
in the same industry, yeah.
In the same industry, a different place. Mm-hmm. Finally getting out of the cold.
Yes, yeah. I'm moving down to Amarillo, right? So, and the company is based out of Colorado. So I'm getting the Colorado pay, but the living expenses of Amarillo, but other places you wouldn't necessarily be able to do that. But if you give yourself that trade skill or a skill of some sort, you'll always have that inherent value, which is, I haul fuel for a living. I've got my Class A CDL. I can haul hazmat stuff. So like uranium, gas, all kinds of silliness that I could explode and die. Right.
Oh yeah. A rolling bomb.
Yeah. And ironically, it's safer when I'm loaded than when I'm unloaded.
Yeah. Cause you can actually stop, for one, plus the explosive level, because you got flashpoints,
it's the vapors.
Because it keeps them down, because you don't have vapors in the tank.
Bingo.
You're liquid in the tank.
Exactly.
So like I say, the flashpoint for the vapors. Well, vapors are what explode or what ignite, and you can't light. If there was no vapors, you could stick a flaming match in gasoline or whatever, and it will not. I mean, will not.
Yeah, in a vacuum, just good to go. Like for example, you probably remember your grandpa lighting a cigarette by the gasoline. You go, "Grandpa, don't do that, don't do that." And he flicks his cigarette in there, and it just goes out.
Yep.
My grandpa did that to me when I was young, and I thought we were gonna explode because we all seen the movies.
Oh yeah, all seen the movies. And they don't. The deal is there's, I think, don't quote me on the numbers, but it's a general idea for everybody to understand. It's the flashpoint for the vapor of gasoline is going to be like 780 degrees at 780 or 781. Let's just say, what the numbers are exact or not. That's when ignition is going to happen. Anything less than that, there's not enough heat to ignite. So, but your cigarette, because you always see it in the movies where they're like, they take a big drag and they toss it off. Cigarette burns at like 650 degrees. So it's not hot enough to do it. Now, is there
if you added a whole bunch of paper, a rolling paper to it, and there was an actual flame going on?
Yeah.
That could happen. I had a guy, I was up in the Northcliffe Cubbies, right? Because that's who I delivered fuel for, all the Cubbies gas stations here in South Dakota. There's a guy, he walked up to me and he lit a cigarette while I'm dumping gasoline. I wouldn't care if he was just smoking a cigarette, but he lit one, right? And I kid you not, he caught like his coat on fire. I have never run so fast in my life. because this gas station's old enough where it doesn't have an evaporation, a vehicle recovery, a vapor recovery unit. So it doesn't get transfer the vapors in and out. It just vents them to the atmosphere, right? And I've never run so fast in my life. I thought we were going to explode because my vent tube was right there, right there.
Yep.
And so I basically shoved him over, and I was like, "Don't ever do that again."
Yeah, it's the let's. I just want to make my point here of just because I said that, let's not do stupid shit. Okay, just when don't be smoking or lighting a cigarette or doing anything along that lines. Let's just use common sense and stay away. I know they say that there's static electricity will even set it off, and so touch your car as you grab the handle or whatever the deal is, just to get rid of it. Let's. It does happen, so let's just be on the safe side.
Yeah, very rarely. Is it gonna happen all the time? No. Are you gonna think about it most of the time? No. But when you're right next to the guy in the big gas tanker, and he's putting gasoline in it, and the area smells like gasoline because the gas is literally venting the atmosphere, don't light that cigarette.
No.
Remember the old saying, can you smell a gas leak in your house? It's a big giant gas leak in the whole area, basically, vapor.
Yep. And and then also not just the dangers for you isn't just filling. You're probably the danger of filling and emptying is relatively risk free within reason. Real danger is about the traffic that you have to deal with and the way they treat you when you're driving.
Oh my goodness. It's absolutely insane. And I get it, I'm in a big truck, so I might have, I've got my professional driver's license, I can do what I want kind of thing going on. But no, generally when you see a semi driver taking up 2 lanes, it's because he's going to want to take a right turn, or he has to make a really wide, tight turn at the same time. I can't tell you how many times when I've been leaving that West 49th Street Cubbies, and I have to go pretty much at a crazy angle. I'll come in, go out, and then I'll go into the oncoming side just to make a huge right turn back, because I'm just not going to fit,
Yeah.
And then some people, they're just complete jerks about it. They're like, I'm going to sit here and I'm not going to, or you'll be in the middle of it and they'll do that. And they'll get in front of me. Don't get me wrong. Sometimes they have the right of way, but a little niceties goes a long way.
Well, I mean, you got to figure, obviously we're sharing the road and you're a rolling bomb. So let's maybe give them a little more courtesy. And I've been guilty of it. You're driving in the city, and if you're driving down the interstate and you're looking to get off, you got to get off on this exit. What do you look for? There's like traffic everywhere. You look for a semi because there's going to be a gap in front of it. So you got to get in front of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I've been guilty of that stuff too, but don't get in front of you and then all of a sudden hard brake to get over, because even if you're going on that exit, deal is you got liquid.
Oh yeah.
So liquid pushes a lot more than dry, or solid. So it's hard. And yes, when you're loaded, the deal is you can't load to the top. There's always space.
Yep.
So it's always, yes, there's baffles, but it does slosh. And yeah, you hit the brakes and it's slowing you down. But as all that weight finally gets the quote wave to the front, is pushing, you can feel it, literally feel it in the truck where it's pushing the truck, and you got to brake a little harder, but you can't brake too much harder because then you start the sloshing. Then you know what I mean? So it's when you're driving that stuff, you guys, you got to understand, you got to be extremely careful. That's why they only let people do it that have extremely good driving records. That, if you get speeding tickets and you get this and that, you're going to end up losing your license to be able to do this for hazmat right away. It's so understand that they have a lot to pay attention to, and just give them that little extra. You know what I mean?
Even if you're going to shoot that brake, in front of me, if you turn your turn signal on, I'm gonna thank you. I'll be like, you know what? Thank you for telling me. I'll give you some more room so I can have more room for myself.
It's it's usually like when you see a semi, even going down, like I've been all over, anywhere from South Florida to, New York and California and everywhere. I've driven basically every city. But when you're driving the semi, you ever notice when you're going down the road, even if you're in your personal vehicle, you drive down the road and the interstate's all going, 70 mile an hour, meaning 85. And then, so all the cars are doing 85. And then there's the semi, or semis. They're usually way over in the, they have a specific lane usually. And even if they don't, they're way over in the slow lane because they're only doing 65 because people are constantly messing with them. And they're always trying to maintain that gap in between them because semis brakes work great. They do. They work great. And when you're loaded, they work even better, but you still can. It takes forever to stop the damn thing.
Yeah, and it's just as annoying to speed back up on the interstate. So like, there's a reason why when there's a speed limit, we're gonna maintain that speed limit first, so we don't get in trouble by our companies, yada yada yada. But also because we think we can maintain that. Maintaining a speed is a lot better than trying to pick up speed when you're fully loaded. When we've got our special trailer and we can load up to 103,000 pounds, my whole, it's a combination vehicle of 103,500 pounds. It takes me forever to get to 65. My truck can go 75, thankfully, but when I'm loaded that much, I can't even get there.
Yeah, and it's kind of a nice the way, like I say, I've drove semi in the cities. I've done that, but it was always nice if everybody's, let's say speed limit 70, everybody's doing 85 because we all know that that's what they do. I would always do like 69 and just cruise.
Yep.
Over in a slow lane because when people are getting on, I really didn't care. I pay attention, but I really didn't care when they come on, even if they were only like 4 or 5, 6, 8 car lengths in front of me. They're going to be pulling away from me and increasing that gap. So I never really have to worry. The only ones I always had to worry about were the ones coming on the left side that were going to dart in front and then try to get off on the exit because they're always looking for, but if you maintain a decent gap and that always allows that person to do that and it's wide enough space, they're not going to jump right in front of you. Usually they jump 10 cars in front of you and they're cruising faster than you are anyway. So they're pulling away as they get over. So that's what I always ended up doing. And that's why you just cruise and do your thing. It does.
It just works.
It's a lot. It makes it a lot safer for you. Don't have to deal with all your crap,
If I can, since you drove in the past, you already know the path of least resistance is the best path.
Yep.
So the least amount of turns, the straightest at the most consistent speed, where I can just pretty much do my thing, drive, get there, get back. That's what I want to do.
Well, and then the thing that always in the back of my mind was, when you're driving a car, if you get in an accident, okay, you're going to mess up your car. You're going to do some damage, scratch it, put a dent, bust a light. You know what I mean? If I got into an accident with that truck, I'm going to hurt somebody. And that sticks in your mind because you're going to hurt somebody. That's why you always maintain and just don't worry about, let everybody else do what they do. And all you're worried about is you're just cruising. You'll get through it. Who cares if it takes an extra 10 minutes to get through like the Twin Cities, right? Mm-hmm. Who cares? I mean, you got a schedule to meet, but that extra 10 minutes is going to take the nerves and all the crap having to drive in that traffic and deal with all that. It's going to take that all away.
I think since you probably mentored people when it comes to driving and stuff, you've been doing this for a long time. You probably told me the same thing my boss did when I first started driving. Take your time, speed will come.
Yep. Yeah, it's never, it's always a thing to relax and focus on what you're doing. The moment you get, just like being in South Dakota, driving along in a car in a blizzard. You know, you only got 10 miles or whatever the deal is, but you're white knuckling, you know, the nerves and how you don't even realize that when you get to a stop you were completely tensed up. If you're trying to hurry up with a truck and go through the city, you're like that because you're trying to hurry and get, you know what I mean? There's no reason. Just go a little slower and relax. And that way you maintain a good driving record. And like I say, and companies pay for that stuff. I mean, there's not that many people that have it, that can even get, have a good enough driving record to get a hazmat anymore, because it doesn't take much to lose it. You have to be very, very good at what you do and be very, very diligent about maintaining your record and make sure it's never bad. I mean, the moment you do something, you get a ticket, even in your personal vehicle, you get a ticket or two. There's no keeping that away from your company. They're going to know. They're going to know right away.
They're going to know, absolutely. And if there's anybody who's trying to get into driving, I'm telling you right now, if you can get into the hazmat 10 years or so, most of the generation that's doing Class A hazmat stuff, they're going to be retiring.
Yep.
There's only old, gruff, tough men doing this right now, and it's such an easy job. My boss told me a trained monkey could do it. I started learning. He's absolutely right. But you got to have those qualifications, and the federal government just made it harder by making everybody have to go to classes for it now. But there's nobody wants to do this job anymore, and they just keep paying more and more and more.
Well, and when the federal government now got involved in it, which really screwed things up. I guess it not really screwed things up, but it was a messed up deal. And when they did that, they also, I think there has to be, you can have a hazmat license, you know, but you cannot drive hazmat. I think you have to have so many years, or at least a year or 2 years of regular truck driving without an accident, without a ticket, to even get into somebody from a hazmat company to hire you as a driver.
That's pretty correct, honestly. I know some companies, if they're really desperate for people, they'll look at somebody who has as little as 1 year driving experience. But that's hardly ever the case. Most time, everybody's asking for a minimum of 2 years driving, good record, and everything like that. And even then, they're gonna be like, "Well, you've technically been driving long enough at 2 years, but how many years have you been driving a tanker?"
Yeah.
And well, you ain't got no experience. Darn, it's gonna go to the next guy.
Yep.
But if you have that longer experience of driving, and say you get like a pneumatic tanker, so you got your tanker experience, you're just not hauling hazmat, right? But you still have your hazmat endorsement. You're hauling that fly ash and gravel, stuff like that. As long as you got that tanker endorsement, that's just going to be something else they're going to look at you for and be like, "Oh, well, you've prepared for this."
Yep.
They're going to look at you more excitedly, because I think me and you have noticed that there's been a lot more drivers on the road that they don't really, or semi drivers in particular, they are having a really hard time adjusting to the life of a cultural life here.
Yeah.
And it's difficult for them. It's a hard time finding good people to work these days. It really is. My company in Omaha, they're struggling hard to find good workers. Like, the only reason I was able to leave was because I'm a good man, and I told my boss that I'd find him a replacement. But they tried to find my position up here in Sioux Falls for 6 months before they could find a good person.
And it's not so much about even driving. What I like you said, just culturally in society here, there's not really. It's very hard to find a quality guy. Even like what I do, we will hire people, but they think that they're going to be paid really well, which they are, but they're used to just playing video games all day. So they're just going to hang out, and it doesn't work that way. Literally the company I worked before, they were to the point to where honestly, they will hire 20 to get 2 and just get rid of them as they turn out, just to keep 2. It's that bad with people not wanting to work. And I don't understand. I mean, I guess it was just ingrained in me. I guess my dad would have beat the crap out of me if I didn't work. You know what I mean? It just was that type of person. But nobody wants to do it anymore. And I get it. I mean, I think we all, in general, balance. We get it. You know, we understand everybody wants to do as easy as possible, but I like the idea of going out, putting in a hard day's work. And, at the end of the day, I'm tired. You know, I'm wore out. I spent 16, 18 hours doing whatever. But
that's just another day closer to payday.
Yeah. But I'm just, but I'm happy about it. I mean, when you can go home tired, you didn't steal anything. You know what I mean?
It's a man's intrinsic value. What work can I put in? Because, we're naturally builders. We want to complete something. We want to be a part of something. Humans are tribal in nature. If we go to work hard, and we're adding value to something that we believe in, we're not going to be happy. We could, crawl through glass, but if we're doing it, for something we believe in and we want to work hard for, as a man, getting paid is just a bonus.
Oh yeah. And that's one thing I always kind of said was, the work is work. And if you enjoy your work, then your pay is just, a bonus on top of it. I mean, don't get me wrong. We all want the money. Not saying that we don't, but if you can enjoy what you do, you're going to enjoy your life, your week. Right. And then I mean, this is the greatest thing is if you really are you find an area you like, you're really good at it, you bust your ass, and you sit back at the end of the week and you can look at the paycheck and it's great and say, they actually pay me to do this. You know what I mean? Obviously,
I can put that into words right now. So picture this: as a hazmat driver, I go to a tank farm, a pipeline, right? And I grab 4 hoses that come from the ground and they go up with pumps attached to them, and I put them into my truck. I put in what product I want, how many gallons, and I wait. And as soon as it's done, I unhook the hoses and I drive to my gas station and I grab one of my hoses and I put it into the ground and I wait. And then it's done. Gravity does its job. I don't even push a button. I just pull a lever and I wait. And then I put the hoses back up and I drive back to the tank farm and I do it all again. They pay me to do that.
Yeah.
And it's all because I could blow up. That's it. But if you're smart, you're not going to blow up. And as long as you can defensively drive good enough.
Are they saying you're expendable? Is that the deal?
Oh, if they would have, if that was true, I believe they would have hired somebody for much cheaper.
But yeah, I wish, that's part of what the channel is about, is to get men to be men again, instead of just trying to think that they should be paid top dollar for doing as little as they possibly can. It doesn't make sense. For one, if you're going to, do your 9 to 5, which there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5, I mean, there is, but there's nothing wrong with a 9 to 5 in general. As long as you go out and you work on that and you work, and every day you try to be a step better, or every week you try to be a step better. You always put your best foot forward. You always try to push a little bit. And it's not being competitive or you being better than Joe over here or any of that stuff. Be competitive with yourself and push yourself to be a little better. When you do that, raises come. So you're going to be doing, better. When you do that, people recognize, which it's a nice feeling and stuff. But then promotions come, and you always try to push further to be better. and never, you can't just relax and think that if you're doing just enough or just enough or just the same as Joe Schmo, that you're going to ever be more than just your average. You know, there's nothing wrong with being average if that's what you're looking for, but most people don't want to be average. They always want to be better. So that's what I'm saying. Every time you go to work, try to be a little better, try to be on point, follow the damn rules. I mean, yeah, they suck, but you know, there's a lot of rules that suck. But when you hired on, you agreed to follow these rules, to do this work for X number of dollars. That's what you agreed to. Be a man of your word and just do it. Who cares? I mean, some of them are dumb. If somebody wants to pay you great money to do something stupid, then who cares? As long as it's great money, right? I mean, I can.
If they're paying me $200 extra a week to only put my left foot on a black tile at the pipeline, you bet your butt I'd do it.
Oh yeah, I mean, if they want to pay me, I don't care.
You know, as long as I agree, like you said before, as long as you agree beforehand to the wages, you're expected to do your work, right?
Yeah.
And if you don't like that, by all means, leave.
Yep.
You know, be courteous. Let them know. You know, hey, I disagree with the wages. You can negotiate yourself as a man. You know, like most men do. They know their value, right?
Yep.
You know, if you don't have any marketable skills or anything like that, you know. But if you do, and you can leverage that, negotiate. Be like, hey, you know, I'm working at Burger King, you know, right now, and they're only paying me $16 an hour. I can go work at McDonald's for 18. Will you match? You can do small stuff like that, even if you don't have a CDL or you're not making buku dollars doing whatever. It's all about leveraging your value that you can do.
And it's the deal of don't worry about what the guys around you or people around you are making for wage. Don't talk about wage, because all that's going to do is either piss them off or piss you off. Because if I have the exact same position as the guy next to me, I'm doing the exact same thing as the guy next to me, and I've been there for the same amount of time, but he's making a $2, whatever, he's making $1,000 a week more than me, whatever the deal is, all that's going to do is piss me off. So I don't want to talk about it. I don't want to hear about it. The way I look at it is I agreed to work and do X, whatever, for this much. That's what I agreed to. So it doesn't matter if he gets paid $10 more than me or $10 less than me, because that's what he agreed to. I only can be in control of myself. So it's what I chose and I agreed to. Well, now if I want to change that, I can always go in and talk, but you can't demand it. Like, you know, the worst thing to do is to go in and say, well, Joe says he's making this. A boss does not want to hear that. That is not, trust me, that's instantly going to piss him off.
There's two ways to go about that conversation. There's, oh, I don't like this and quit. Or there is, if you're going to go talk to your boss about it, like I'm going to play devil's advocate here. I like talking about pay. I love it, because if someone's making more or less than me, like if they're making more than me, I'm thinking about what are they doing for the company that makes them more inherently valuable than me. I'm competitive as shit.
Yep.
You know, if I see that they're providing more value to the company than me, I'll go talk to my boss. You know, I'll be like, I hear he's making, $400 more a week than me. And I can respect that, you know. What is he doing for the company to get that wage? And is there a way that I can also do this?
Yep.
And that's where you come with leverage. You know, as a man, leverage your value. Find that. You know, if you see somebody, negotiate. You know, if I can agree to an extent with what you're saying, like if you're getting paid what you're paid, you agree to it, you know, it is what it is. And to an extent, that's all right. But I'm gonna devil's advocate on it and be like,
oh no,
if you want to, if you're gonna talk to about it, that's where you're no longer being like, oh, I'm just here for my 9 to 5. Now you're entering that new realm of what kind of value are you bringing?
Yep. And that's that. Like, I understand what you're saying. I'm saying in general, if you're working and you're not trying to get to be, you know, to be extremist, if you're just trying, don't worry about what anybody else is making. Just do your thing. Now, if you do want to be successful and you are trying and you have a work ethic, because we all know that most people don't these days. Let's be honest. People might be pissed. I don't care. I'm just saying the truth.
And it goes for bosses too, though.
Oh
Some
yeah.
bosses don't have a work ethic. They're expecting some guys to work for crappy pay,
Yep.
and they're wondering why they can't ever hire anybody.
Yeah, exactly. Because
So,
yeah,
yeah, I don't. I know how sometimes when like the way we're talking, we're like, oh, people just don't know how to work. No, it goes for the bosses too. Some people don't know how to hire.
oh yeah,
So we don't want to make it look like just get out there and work.
yeah,
No. But I agree with you. Like when it comes to like you said, that guy who hires 20 to keep two.
yep.
When it comes to there's no one out there looking to make an honest day's wage anymore.
No, or half the time they don't even show up. I mean, it's ridiculous.
You get that text at 2 a.m. saying I'm not going to make it.
Yeah, they go to an extent of literally they'll work a week. 2, they get the first paycheck, and all of a sudden they're like, well, they didn't show up Monday, and they'll just not say anything and show up on Tuesday, and work the rest of the week, and then they get another paycheck, and then all of a sudden he showed up on Monday, but then he just didn't show up Thursday and Friday, and without any explanation, no calling, no, and there's so many people like that, and there's so many jobs that are open.
Mm-hmm.
They're kind of having to put up with some of it, and all that does is really piss the guys off. No, I mean, then you're resentful. You got guys resentful towards you when you're doing that stuff. So understand that they're never going to, from that point on, they're not going to teach you anything. They're not going to want to be around you.
They're not going to respect you.
Yeah, you've just lost everything. They're going to put their time and effort into somebody else that maybe, gives a shit, I guess you could say. I mean, just flat out gives a shit, because obviously you don't. So
when you give a shit, when you give a shit, you'll naturally stand out. They'll want to put you into a better position for the company, and inherently getting you better pay. When I got my CDL, I was just a warehouse guy in Pepsi. I was just driving an electric forklift, not even a pallet jack, electric pallet jack, zooming around. But I was competitive. I was like, I want to get the highest case count per hour. I want to be the man. I want to look at everybody here and be like, this little midget here at 5'8", weighing 128 pounds, I was so much faster than all of you, and you're all way bigger than me. I've got the world's largest case of small man syndrome. I tell you what. Like when people are bigger than me, they're like, I can do this. I'm like, let's find out if you really can, And they saw that at Pepsi. And 2 weeks before I turned 21, the guy who did all the routes for Pepsi, they're like, hey, you're fast. How old are you? I was like, I turned 21 in 2 weeks. And he went, cool, go get your permit. You're driving now.
Yep.
And I got my Class A.
A little easier back then.
Yeah, literally all I had to do was I walked into the DMV, read my booklet for like 6 hours. I'll take the tests now. Took the test, passed, and I got my permit. And then I drove around with the Pepsi guys for a bit. They showed me how to turn, showed me how to parallel park, which you hardly ever do. But there's like the once in a blue moon you have to.
Yep.
And once I did that, I took my test, and boom, didn't cost me a dime.
Yep, and it's kind of the same thing worked for me. I didn't get grandfathered, but they came and they just gave it to us, for the most part. I mean, don't get me wrong, we had to pass tests and have our knowledge, but we'd been driving for years, so it wasn't like we didn't know what we were doing or how to do it. Yeah. But the only reason, like say, I'm a kind of different on the different. I have a different view on the wage and worrying about what people make is. If you're worried about what everybody makes and that's your drive, okay, when you get to the top, then what?
I want to make more.
Well, yeah, but what do you do?
I work harder.
But nobody else, you're already at top. Then what? See, that's why I'm saying worry about yourself. Don't worry about nobody else.
I can see it.
Your drive is to drive you to the end. That way, when you get to the top, it doesn't matter. What can I do now to make more? What can I do? Okay, you're topped out. There's no more in that company. Now, where do I go?
I guess my mentality where we're coming from here, it's a great if you're a follower.
Oh, yeah. That's
Like,
great.
if you're following
Yeah.
at that, what can I do to make more? But like you said, what happens when you get to the top? That's where you have to have that, that monotheistic work.
Yeah. And for me, like I say, my deal is I know I'm going to the top. There's not a question. So I never questioned myself about that. It's like, hey, I would like to get to the top, or, when, hopefully I get, no, I'm going there. So what mentality do I have to get there and to have when I'm there?
Mm-hmm.
So you see what I mean?
Yeah.
You got to set your understanding or your mental view of things to begin with, that you're there, that there's no question you're going. I mean, it's just a matter of time.
Oh, absolutely.
Whatever it takes. So as you're going, you're moving up, you have the same mental view that you're going to have as that's not, it doesn't matter, because nothing matters. All that matters is me. Yes, I'm not conceited. Yes, I care about my coworkers. Yes, I'm going to help them out. Yes, I'm going to do this. And yes, I'm going to be respectful and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, I don't care about them. It's their problems and their issues are not my problem. My problem is, this is what I have to do. This is what I have to get. Now, if they have issues and can't get their work done, it might be a little bit of a problem. I need to step over to help them too, do my work and theirs. But now, the same mentality, I'm worried about me. I'm thinking, now people are going to see, and I'm doing more. So I'm going to be worth more. I'll be able to gain more. So it's a like a snowball effect. Once you know and you have a drive to do stuff, it just never quits. And when you have that mentality, you're going somewhere, and you're gonna make decent money. I mean, it doesn't matter what field you're in either. But when you get to the top, then what? So it's like, okay, now I need to change and move over to this, and then I'll move up, and then I'll change and move over to this and move up. And everybody always uses things to hold them back as, well, this guy's favored, or this guy, is better than me at this. So that's why, and I'll never be able, he's got this position. He's had it for you.
All these
I don't care. There's no goddamn excuse. You just go do it. And everybody that makes up or has these excuses, they're where they're at because they have them fucking excuses. I mean, they're never going to be successful in life. They just aren't. I mean, they might have a
financial stability.
Yeah, exactly. Where, hey, you're going to, do, if your idea of success is to be married with 2.2 kids with white picket fence and 4-bedroom, nice, modest, everything, and new vehicle or something, and maybe a small boat, and then you're 50, 55 years old and you're happy, and that's wonderful. You're going to do great, because it ain't going to take much to get there, but that's your average person. That ain't going to make me happy. It never would. So
we all know America is the land of excess. Let's be real.
Oh yeah.
Our American dream is called, like, to us, it's normal. The American dream is normal. We're going to get that house, fence, white picket fence, the wife. If women could act a little bit more wifely these days.
Yeah.
My personal opinion, but that's a whole nother topic.
Yeah, well, I don't know. Yeah, we definitely talk about that crap.
But guys like me and you, I feel like we want more. Like, I think you could pursue it a little bit better because than me, because you got the experience right now. But like us talking, we'll probably, talk some shit down the road to each other,
Oh yeah.
about, hey, you're gonna be telling me, oh yeah, my Camaro's got 1,000 horsepower now, Zach. How's your G8 that you
Yeah.
sold? And I'll be like, shut up.
Yep. It's but it is when it comes down to it's
It's hard to get there. We're the land of
Oh, yeah.
access for a reason.
it is, but you have to want it.
Bingo.
I mean, not want it. You have to go get it. You have to have the drive. You can want forever and never get anything. I mean, you can think that there's always an excuse going to hold you back, or you should be a certain way and you don't need to put up with their rules and their the way of doing things and regulations, and you're just going to argue with your boss, or because you're better than, well, then go somewhere else.
Prove it.
Well, yeah. I mean, if you if the owner of the company or the president, boss is telling you, stop this crap, you're doing this wrong, don't argue with him.
Yeah,
Either understand his point, try it his way, because he's
the one signing the paycheck.
Yeah, he's the one signing the paycheck. Do it his way. If it ain't working for you, still do it his way.
Let the company
give him 2 weeks. Out.
Yeah. Well, something I've always enjoyed is when I found something that a company wasn't doing right, and I'm like, hey, we could change this, and they didn't like the idea. I just say, okay, I tell them, like, you're losing an hour and a half on people doing this here each day, because you think it's better for us to do it up here rather than the guys who are closer to it. And that's just wages you're wasting away. And if financial loss is something the company is prepared for, that you've already written in your books, that's fine. You're going to pay me the same regardless.
Yep.
And if it's not so unbearable that I have to leave, I'm not going to care.
No, and that's the deal. I mean, if they're okay with it and they don't suit you, there's always another place to just be respectful, give 2 weeks and be out. I mean, it's going to be easy to find another job.
Oh,
I mean, especially if you got some drive, man, people will snatch you up in a heartbeat. I mean, anybody with a little work ethic that'll show up every day, that's somewhat loyal, you got a job. So it doesn't take a whole lot. If you just have to have it in you to do it. I mean, it's like you were saying, it's when we expect more out of ourselves, I know you do, I know that. And I expect a lot out of myself. When we do that, you expect a lot more out of people around you. Not that I hold them to the same standard, but I would expect it.
You'd like to
doesn't
see it.
Yeah, it doesn't bother me that they don't. But now when you're talking, you brought up earlier, you're talking about a woman, if you're going to date somebody, you're going to be involved with someone, I expect a lot more.
There's a difference between friendship, and you living and let living with your friends, like, oh yeah, hey man, I'm going to support you. If you want to work your 9 to 5, I hope you're happy. But when it comes to finding a partner, there's a reason why, they're talking about, like, I don't know if you're follow Judeo-Christian values or whatever, but when they say it becomes one flesh, they say that because it's true. I have to become one flesh with you, meaning that you're going to have access to my finances. I'm going to have to donate my time that I could be doing things I like to you. I'm going to have to do all these things with you. And you're going to have somewhat as much say over what I'm doing as well, because we have to make compromises with each other.
Yep.
Now, can you add that value? Like, what can you add? What's the value you can add?
Exactly. If you ever, honestly, you ask, and this is dead serious. I've asked women this question, and it's comical, because, I'll ask them, what do you expect out of a man? I mean, what, and they got like, well, he's got to be this tall. He's got to make this much money. He's got to have some drive. He's got to have a little charisma. He's got to take care of himself. He's got to want to do things. He's, on and on and on. There's just lists and lists and lists,
Mm-hmm.
all this crap. Then I ask, well, what do you bring to that guy? And they're like, well, anything. Well, yeah,
Well,
but
tell me
but
what anything
what
is.
is anything? What is that? And they're like, well, I don't know. I'll be nice and I'll cook and I'll do that. Well, that's all great and that's great and wonderful. That's just, but the guy that's successful and got all that money, he can hire that done if he wants. I mean, it doesn't take that much. I mean, he can go out to eat, or he can get a chef or somebody to clean his house. I mean,
Yeah.
he can hire all that out. I mean, what is it that makes you special that he is going to pick you?
Exactly.
You specifically. Why is that? Generally, they don't have an answer. And that's a big problem with today's, I'll just say it, today's modern women. It's a huge problem because they don't even think about what that a man won't want them, but they don't understand the difference of
wanting them lustfully and
wanting them sexually versus wanting them for a relationship. They're different. We don't tell them either way. I mean,
exactly.
like I say, we wouldn't deal with women if it wasn't for sex. I mean, to be honest,
yeah.
I mean, usually they cause problems and issues and their drama, and they can't really help you on anything. I mean, for the most part, I can live. I don't, if it wasn't that, I'm biologically, in need of certain things and you know what I mean? I wouldn't even deal with them. I mean, I wouldn't even talk to them. Not saying that women ain't great people. I'm not, but I'm just saying they seriously have overestimated their
market value.
Their market value to a guy. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get it. There's a bunch of bums out there. I mean, we all know there's a bunch of bums out there that are chasing, and they're always talking to them, and they're always in the DMs, and there's just on and on and on and on and on and on. And they, of course, the women don't want none of them, but all they see is this abundance of people, that a revolving door that it never stops, and it's always, but they don't really put it together that the people that really want that want them or whatever, and that revolving door, there's only a few that meet their standards that they actually want. Now, the other ones, I mean, basically you take them all, they all just want to have sex. Don't get me wrong. And that's the initial, they're beautiful. So they,
Oh, absolutely.
So, but there's only a few that the women are going to take serious. Now, the rest of the guys, but they don't get it in the head that they didn't want them people in the first place. So it's not a revolving door of men constantly. Yes, but it's men you don't want. So when you do find, you better have something, you better have a leg up, because I don't care. I mean, there's a lot of beautiful women out there. There's a lot versus successful guys.
Oh, absolutely.
There's not, I mean, you're talking the difference between 1-2% of maybe, even say, I think what somebody making six figures in the United States is like 10% of the population that makes six figures or more. So you take that 10%, but that's women, men, gay, married, short, fat, ugly. You know what I mean? That's everybody. So the actual people that they're actually interested in that make that kind of money or are successful. I'm not saying it's all about money, but it's about success, and with success becomes money. That's, it all comes together.
I can't remember who I heard the statistic from. He was joking around. He's like, when it comes to successful men and attractive women, it's probably like 20% of the men are having sex with 80% of the women.
No, it's true. There's actually a stat on that's what it is. There's here in the last year, 2 years, there's a study that basically 80% of the women are having sex with 20% of the men. But women get all mad that they won't share. You know, I mean,
Yeah, yeah.
like you already are, you know, but you just don't know it. Yeah, okay, a lot of guys do things they probably shouldn't. I just say be upfront, you know, tell them straight out that this is what's going to happen. And honestly, they say that there's a study that, or a poll, whatever you want to say, from men from 18 to 30, 30% of men are reporting that they are virgins or haven't had sex in a year.
That's surprising.
It is. Well, because, I mean, look at the women. They're so selective. Don't get me wrong. They need to be. I agree. Women can be as selective as they want, but
that's a virtue they need to hold on to. But I think they need to be more selective.
You're darn right. They need to be more selective because, I mean, don't get me wrong. We all like hoes. I like them. I'm not ever going to take them seriously. You know what I mean? But hey, I love a good one. I mean, so, I'll just do my thing.
Exactly. So like, since I'm leaving to Texas soon, you know, I don't want to fool around with a woman and have to come back in 6 months because I hear, oh, you got a little Zach Jr. on the way, you know? So like with me, I'm purposely not engaging in any forms of coitus, you know?
Yes. Well, and like I say, any guy that, especially when we get successful or we do fairly well for ourselves, we really have to be cautious of this. I mean, I know there's we all know there's a bunch of women that have 2, 3, 4 kids with 2, 3, 4 different guys.
Mm-hmm.
And generally those guys are
prison,
average,
garbage,
basic. You know what I'm saying? We get it. Not a judgment. It is, but it isn't. You know,
my garbage statement was a complete judgment.
Oh yeah, it is. They are. But not very many women. I mean, obviously I'm sure there's somebody you can say that is out there like that. There's not very many women that are having all these kids with very successful men, because as you get more successful, you got more to lose. You're also very much more protective of it.
Yeah, that's 110% true. You know, so I got divorced. I think, you know, we talked about this before.
Yep.
The woman that I want to share my time with, I have no problem with buying women dinners and, you know, a couple drinks. I'll invite them over. Ironically, I had one over to play Magic the Gathering the other night. You know, did I do anything? No, because I'm a good little noodle. But you know, she was there till 2 a.m. and she obviously thought she was going to get some, you know?
Yep.
And the thing is, when we're being we've, at least I know I've been through this. I don't know if you've had a divorce before or anything like that.
Oh yeah. I went through that, and I'll recommend it for anybody. Anyway,
yeah. So we have to be that much more selective because we've been through that. You know, a prenup can only do so much these days. You know, it's scary.
A prenup or whatever, you got to update it every year, and then it still doesn't always mean that it's going to hold up. It's entirely up to the courts. Mm-hmm. And the problem with it is when you pay alimony or you pay child support, the government gets some of that money. So they're incentivized to make you pay it. So the best thing in the world to do
is, if you're going to get married to the right one.
Is if you're going to get married, do it in another country and then come back. I mean, to be honest, I'm dead serious, man. I am dead serious. I am 100% deal. Or my other, like, man, you guys are gonna
imagine that? Oh, honey,
you guys
going to Sri Lanka to get married.
Yeah,
it's no reason in particular. It's just beautiful this time of year.
It's just beautiful this time of year. You're darn right. I mean, the other one is just do a promise ceremony. You know what I mean? You can have a big whatever, and you can have even a preacher or whatever come over and give you your ceremony, exchange rings, and just don't sign a marriage certificate.
Yeah.
That way it doesn't matter anyway, because it's just a piece of paper, right? So it's just you guys committed to each other. but you're not legally bound.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And once you have a child, okay, now things are a little different. You know what I mean? You are legally bound, and I get that. But until that point, you're good. And if you guys are out, you're out. And if you guys never have kids and you just hang out together, you know, and live together and you have a wonderful life and you guys never was great and wonderful, once every 6.5 years, you got to walk off for 2 days and then you come back. Then it starts that whole common law crap back over again.
I think that term you're looking for with like the people living together not having kids is called a DINK, dual income, no kids.
Yes, exactly. And I'm dead serious.
It's a good lifestyle from what I've seen.
People can be really, really successful with it. And the problem is men get destroyed by divorce. Destroyed in general. She has to be a real piece of shit flat out for otherwise, even sometimes when she gets child support, she gets kids, she gets a house, she gets cars, she gets, you know what I mean? And the guy is out and now he's got to work 10 times harder, do 10 times more just to get to where he was and still be able to afford paying all that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? So it's marriage isn't really a good, especially with, we're equal. We're equal, world, right? We're all equal,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Women's lib. We're equal. Good. Wonderful. Go out and make your money. We ain't going to get married. What? You don't see these women. You put it this way. If you went and told women that, hey, you're going to come, we're going to get married and everything was reversed and say, hey, I'm going to take half of your crap. I'm going to take the kids away from you. I'm going to keep the house. I'm going to kick you out and you're going to have to pay me for 10 years. Just be, if I decide that I don't want to be with you or I find somebody else that I want to be with more and I just say, I don't want to be with you no more. You're going to have to do it. Ain't no woman ever going to get married. I will guarantee they'd be like, hell no.
Mm-hmm. That's actually happened in places like California and Colorado and all that, you know, because we've got all these effeminate men these days walking around and they want to be, you know, stay-at-home dads and they want their wives to do everything for them. You know, unfortunately, I don't know what happened with my parents' generation, where they raised a bunch of sissies. I think it might have been helicopter parenting or something, you know. But it's happening to these women now, and a lot of them are seeing that, you know.
Well, that's why now, you know, they're reporting the lowest marriage rates. They're reporting the highest divorce rates and the lowest birth rates because guys are sick of it. I mean, honestly, guys are just sick of it.
So outside of the like Abrahamic religions, there is no benefit to getting married on paper. I'm telling you right now, because you know, for like Christianity and stuff like that, you know, before you do the action, you're required to be married. Does that happen most of the time? No, they sin like everybody else. But, you know, that's how they can stay in their church and not be judged accordingly. But if you're not part of, you know, a culture like that, what benefit do you have to exposing yourself to that risk?
But you think about it, you're saying as a man, what benefit? Now, flip it. What benefit if you were a woman? Now there's all kinds of benefits. You get this, you incentivized to get married and divorced because you get paid to do it.
Yeah, you're not wrong. You know, you get, if it's a good man, you know, who does what he's supposed to, he's a provider, he makes the money, he still spends time with you as he should, he loves you as he loves himself. You know, you've got the best deal in the world.
Yeah, it's if you get, it's the best thing, but they're always looking for the next best thing. I mean, to be honest, that's what it is today.
Hold on, let me go onto my Tinder real quick. And
they're always looking for the next best thing. They really are. Just like, okay, this actually happens, and I know people that it's happened with and for and all that, whatever. Mm-hmm. But they have a a guy that does fairly well. He's young, 25 maybe, you know, but he's got a good job, you know, making 50K. 25 is, you know, guys.
That's decent.
Yeah, he's doing all right.
25 years old.
You know, he gets a woman, and she gets with him, and then takes him off his purpose, because it's, well, spend time with me. Well, come on, you know, why don't we go here? Why? Well, so and so gets to go work over here, you know, and go here and eat here and stuff. And well, these people, so she gets him off his purpose. And so all of a sudden he's making $10,000 a year less. Okay. But he's paying more attention to her.
You want to know what else? He's no longer the man that she fell in love with.
Nope. Because she don't want him no more. She's already planning on leaving him, but she used his money, right, that he gave her, you know, and because we all know, we know that guys are going to support their girlfriends, wives, whatever. We all know. I mean, it's a thing.
We like to show them off. It's the truth.
Exactly.
Like if I have a beautiful girlfriend, you bet your butt I'm going to bring her to dinner, and I'm going to be like, hey, what do you feel like you would look best in? That dress? Go get it.
Yep.
Go get it. Yeah. Everybody's going to see you in that dress.
Exactly.
What kind of necklace do you want? You know?
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is, so you got to figure she's 25, he's 25. Took him off his purpose. She still gets everything. He's losing out. And so he's buying the clothes. He's buying her makeup, you know, stuff, paying for the hair and the nails.
All that.
You know what
stuff.
I mean? And the whole time she's getting everything she needs. He might even be buying lighting, you know, special lighting, you know, them ring lights and all that stuff. But they can take special, you know how women, they like that.
Those
and I've
mirrors
seen it
with all those lights on them.
Yeah, I've seen that stuff where they're taking better selfies, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're using their guys' money to do all this to attract other men, because they've already decided to leave this guy. He's paying them to leave.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Or you know what I mean?
Yeah.
He's getting used. And then they just stair step like that. I've seen it happen. So you got to be extremely careful when it comes to who you select. Mm-hmm. And yeah, put it this way, is a woman going to want to, is it okay, I guess you could say, to spend money on your woman? Yeah. But you have to be very diligent and not, you know, look at it from in a real view, mm-hmm. and not be clouded by all this. You know what I mean?
I mean, when it comes to being that guy still, you know, you can't be, you know, she fell in love with you for doing what you were doing, right? To an extent. We'll say that she's being a normal woman. We're not gonna go off the gold digger route yet, right?
Yep.
And you're doing what you're supposed to be doing. You're making the money. She fell in love with that purpose. If all of a sudden now you get her, and all of a sudden all you're doing is her, and you're not out doing what your original goal was, you're not on your same purpose anymore, you're only inviting the door for her to open, which will be, oh, well, I don't like him anymore. Now I'm going to go do what I want, but I'm too scared to leave him, so I'm going to keep using him.
I actually recently talked to a friend, guy that I know, you know, whatever. He actually had this happen. He, you know, found this woman, and she was a great woman, according to him. She was a great woman. She's beautiful. She was the one, you know, and started dating her or whatever. She had a young kid, you know, so she was a single mother at the time, and he didn't have any kids. He was just doing fairly well for himself, and they got together, and the part of it was he was out doing a bunch of stuff for work, you know, and he was a public, you know, he was a public person, or you know what I mean? So his work, and I don't really want to call him out. That's why I'm, you know what I mean?
A visible aspect.
Yeah, he was a very visible, his employment was very visible, but it was his own company, his own thing. So he was always out in social, you know, talking. So there's always women around, you know, and he or she says, you know, well, I don't like the way, you know, you're always putting yourself out there. Like hey, and he was, well, I'm just, you know, I'm a nice guy. I'm social. I mean, this is just the way I am. This is the vibe I give off. Well, she kept saying and kept saying and kept saying. Well, finally he backed off and started rejecting and not talking to women and doing anything. About 3 months after that, she didn't want to be with him anymore because it just isn't going to work out. We can be friends, but that would be it. And she left. He's wholehearted in love. He's changing everything throughout these 6-8 months or whatever it is, trying to be what she wants. Never do that, because women don't know what they want. They have zero. They can't even pick where they want to eat.
This is where,
I mean, it's ridiculous.
This is where your little follower group people, if they can get mad at me a little bit, but my opinion is that men are inherently bred to lead, and women they're just biologically wanting to follow a strong man. And don't get me wrong, you can, if you love your wife or significant other, you'll include her thoughts and opinions in your actions, but you're expected to lead. If she starts taking control of everything, what value do you have to the relationship then?
Oh, exactly. And I say, for me, it's the way I kind of interact or have said this was, you got to be confident in yourself.
Mm-hmm.
And you got to be confident in your abilities, and you're confident in what you do, because if you're not confident, how can she be?
If you're not a strong man, is she gonna want to show you off to her friends? If you're just that guy that's kind of in the back, like one of those bad nerds, not tax collector, stamp collector, sitting in the back, not showering for 3 weeks at a time. She's not gonna. You might make enough money where she'll stick around, but she's not gonna show you off.
No.
And then as soon as she finds somebody who makes more money, all of a sudden, you're not on the table anymore.
I think, and honestly, I think it's subconscious, and I believe it's a something that women need, honestly, because I feel the women, and seriously, I am not saying not to be selective for women. I am not saying that you shouldn't pick the very best. I am not saying that. You have absolutely every right, and I believe you should, because you shouldn't pick a bum. Okay, I get it. I mean, I'm not going against it, right?
Yeah, that's how you get, women with 17 different baby daddies.
Exactly. I get it. When women, they constantly, I'm going to get myself in a whole bunch of trouble.
All right.
I'm going to get myself in a whole bunch of trouble. No.
It's been tough navigating this.
Yeah, there's certain things that, that
polarizing opinions.
Yeah, I am going to get myself in a
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to get myself in a world of trouble.
Well, maybe I can get us into trouble. Okay,
we're good at that.
If you're gonna go through your hoe phase, picking men and then just dropping them off or whatever, pick one that you're at least okay with, spending a year with. Make it if you're gonna hoe around, make that conscious decision and be like, would I at least spend a year with this man to see if it'll work out? And if it's not going to do that, don't be a hoe. Stop. Check yourself. I get men, we're logical, and we're thinking about these things. And women, their emotions, they're caught up in the emotions of everything. Women, fight that basic instinct of emotional horniness that you got going on. Dude's 6'2", tattoos that he got in prison or whatever. And some guys from prison are fantastic dudes,
Yep.
But, don't fall for the douchebags in the heat of the moment, because that's when if you do that, you're going to inherently lose value. The more and more time men see that happening, we're going to get less and less interested.
Exactly. It's, if you, as women, okay. There's certain things that,
go about it vaguely.
Oh, there's no way. You know how it is. I just got to hit a head on, and I'm going to get yelled at. It's just the way it is. Women should pick the best. There isn't very many out there, but there isn't very many women that are worth a crap either.
Oh,
so
that's a controversial statement?
Well, I mean, how many women are going to disagree that women are trash?
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Yeah, exactly.
But us as men, we can be like, oh yeah, dude, loads of men are garbage, and we won't get upset about it.
Oh, have you ever noticed that you can, if you have a standard, you're stupid for having that standard, but women can have all these standards.
How many women have been upset with me when I've been like, hey, I've got standards. If you want to actually be in a relationship with me, you're gonna have to at least hold some form of Christian theology.
Yeah.
And how many women have been upset with me? Oh my gosh.
everybody can have standards. Everybody can have boundaries. Everybody can have, things that they need from the other. There's nothing wrong with any of that. I just think that most of the women aren't worthy of success. I guess.
Well,
Yeah, they can, whatever. But I think there's very few women in this world that a successful man would actually wife up.
It's hard to find a woman who has the same values. I don't know what you're looking for in a woman, but I'll put one out there for myself, right? For when I'm looking for a woman, she has that same religion I do. She'll also have she'll want to be a woman, she'll want to be strong in her womanly ways, being able to raise a child, but and if she wants to work, she can, for
Yeah.
and but she can but she's not afraid to raise a child. She's not afraid to, look pretty in her dresses. She goes about being feminine in a feminine way, and then she promotes me to be masculine. You know, if she like if the more feminine she's
You
being,
misogynist, you.
I'm sorry, it's the truth though.
It is.
When I see her being a good woman, it makes me just want to be a manly man. I just want to get out there and show her off and be like, this is my woman.
A woman, to me or whatever. Yeah, I mean, I get that. A woman can be a great asset. She can be a wonderful asset to you. But she can be an extreme detriment, for the wrong woman. And there's
those rose bushes have their thorns, my guy. They're very pretty,
exactly.
but they can prick you.
And that's where we need to make a quick evaluation that, hey, this might be a potential, or it's sex only. She just recreational use. And then I'm going to look for something else.
Yeah. I can definitely see that, there, some women, in like my own personal opinion, I view it like some other people. They're just not worth my time. And it's not just because they're women, but like other men, they're not worth my time. But if I'm looking for a romantic partner, if she doesn't meet that criteria, for example, I went to dinner with a gal at Applebee's. She told me she was an exotic dancer. She was very attractive. Now, as Mr. Christian man over here, I was like, oh, you're so beautiful. Gosh dang it. I can't see you.
Yeah.
More power to you. In the United States of America, you don't have to be a Christian to be successful. By all means, you do what you're doing.
Yep.
If it's making you happy, do that. But as a man, and my values, I had to be like, I'll pay for dinner. It was a great time. But no, those are my standards. Other people's standards, maybe they like their woman showing themselves off at, the strip club. That seems like beta male stuff to me. But
yeah, I know there's not going to be a man that takes himself seriously and is somewhat successful or very successful that is going to wife up a stripper. Stripper, OnlyFans.
OnlyFans are worse. They don't even get paid properly.
Yeah, exactly. You can see their butthole for like $3.99. Come on.
You know what else you can do? You can go to P-Hub,
Yep. Yeah, and then, or the porn industry and stuff like that. You take them women, and the only thing they're going to find is either a beta. They might find somebody decent. There's chance. There's always a chance, and there's always a simp somewhere for something. Yeah,
there's always that. There's that. Just like a successful man, there's even smaller chance of a successful simp.
Exactly.
So, but they might find him.
Oh yeah, and the thing is every time they have found somebody, if you look in general, and you see it as a whole, it doesn't really work. It only works like 15-20% of the time. So, because honestly, it's they're recreational use. They are. You don't take them seriously. They're just for fun.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, okay. Yell at me. I know I'm going to hear a bunch of this shit, but it's true. All right. Well, I've said everything else is horrible. I'm going to just as well get hit with this. It's like, for me personally, you take a single mother and you take a single guy that doesn't have kids, there's no point to even be in her. She's recreational use only for him, because there's a lose-lose situation. Never get involved with her, ever, because you never win. You'll always lose out in every situation. Now, but it puts single mothers in a very bad position.
Yeah, it's a predicament for sure.
It is. And it hasn't always been from their own choice. Once in a while, maybe 10% things happen and they had to leave, or whatever the deal is. I get it. Most of the time they just want to take off.
How many of them place themselves in a victimhood mentality?
Everyone. Every single one. It doesn't matter who. I have never heard
bipolar disorder.
Yeah, I've never heard a single mother ever say that she is not a victim of some sort, that doesn't have an excuse, doesn't have a long line of all these horrible people that they never take responsibility for anything, which is that's pretty common
Rarely
with women.
they do. Like I know one gal right now, right? Ironically, she's a single mom, and ironically, she's a stripper, right? Most beautiful woman I've ever seen in my life. Okay. And like, I can't entertain the relation. If she decided to stop doing that, one child is like my limit, but the moment that it's two, like even a normal dude is like, absolutely, holy cow. That's like, do they want to take on that responsibility?
Well, the deal, this is the reason why I always say that don't date single mothers if you're a single guy without children.
All right, hit me with this wisdom.
Okay. Because, don't get me wrong. I have children. It's a little different because it just is, and you'll see why. All right. For one, you get together with a single mother, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Wonderful person. Not saying she's not a wonderful person, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. And I'm not saying single mothers ain't wonderful people. I'm just follow me on this.
It takes a lot of guts not guts, but when you're a single mom, there's a lot of shit you got to do.
Oh, yeah.
If you want to do it right. And
they have an incentive usually to find a man to help. Financially, at least. Right?
Yeah.
Well, let's be real. Let's just put all the shit out on the table. If you get together with a single mother, you two are going to date. And at some point, you are going to have to accept, I guess not say accept is a bad word, but be responsible for that child too. Because they're a package, right?
Yep.
Okay. You guys get together, let's say you date for 3 or 4 years, whatever. All of a sudden now you're responsible financially for that child. You're going to have to go pick up school. You're going to have to take it out. When you take her out, you're going to pay for, you know what I mean? On and on. You're fully responsible, right?
Yeah.
But you have zero authority with that child.
Yeah, it's garbage.
You're going to lose every time. Then you have to deal with baby daddy. And then you will never get away from that. You'll deal with that for 18 years.
Yeah, because we've all heard this, like when they split, I love you, but I'm not in love with you anymore. AKA, they still got feelings.
Yep.
It's something you're going to have to deal with.
The deal is you will never win that situation. You will always lose every single time. So you have nothing to gain and everything to lose. So not saying single mothers ain't great. They're some of them are great people, but they need to understand the level of, not saying having a child in the dating market, put it that way, having a child in the dating market, they need to understand the level that they have to up themselves to maintain where they were without, because it's a huge detriment. I mean, yes, you may have a child with, let's say you get married, right?
Yeah.
After you have a child with her, you still have to deal with baby daddy. You still have to deal with all that crap. You'll never get by any of the drama. It will always be there.
A thorn inside.
You will always never have complete authority over that child. I'm not saying that it's not right that you never have authority over that child, but you never will. And a man needs to think about this. He's got all the responsibility, 100%, but he doesn't have the authority to do anything.
If
Now it's a lose-lose situation. Is that what you want? Or do you go find, say, they're great, you're wonderful, but I just can't, and find a single woman that doesn't have children and then can give you children. And then it's just you two, which is a win-win every day.
Mm-hmm. I agree with that. I agree with that. You know, it'd be real hard going into a situation knowing that the single mother, and if you as a man, you know, like, hey, if I'm going to take responsibility, I get full, you know, disciplinary action as well. What mother is going to accept that this man says,
Never.
Yeah,
They never
like,
will.
You know,
And then you'll always have to, if they do, let's say, you know, hypothetically, the child is going to say something to their father, and then the father's going to be talking to her, and then she's going to have the battle. Now you got baby daddy drama.
bingo.
It's a lose. There is no winning for a man. There is zero winning. Now she gets the support. She gets somebody to be responsible to help out. She gets, you know, everything she needs in a man.
From both sides.
Yeah. You know what I mean? She gets everything. But you lose out. Even if she's a great woman. But we all have to really think about it and really know and believe, if we sit down and break it down to the very basic, you know I'm right.
Yeah, you are. It's the truth. So when we break it down, the financial aspect is what's going to get most men, you know? Like, do I want to be responsible for this little spawn that isn't mine? You know, and then on top of that, when you pass, you're going to have to give some of your inheritance to something that isn't yours.
Well, not only that, I mean, you take it as a responsibility, as, I'm not saying it as the kid, by the way, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying you have to take responsibility as men and women show love differently. We do.
Yeah.
It's
Men involve a lot of respect.
Well, exactly. But also we have complete two different things that's expected of each gender, right?
Mm-hmm.
So women, what is the main thing you want from them?
I want respect.
You
That's
want
what I
respect, loyalty,
Exactly.
right? She is with you only. Now, that's the way she shows love to you,
Mm-hmm.
right? Is to be with no one else,
Exactly.
right? That's her main way to, I mean, let's just be real. When a man truly loves a woman, he's giving her security, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's his way of showing love.
Yep.
Providing, protecting, everything, financially, physically, mentally, when it comes to the protecting part, right?
Mm-hmm.
You're expected to jump in front of a bullet for her.
Oh, absolutely. As a man who's with, you know,
And
that woman
the other man's child that's with her.
Oh,
You see what I mean?
yeah, it's a scary thing.
Exactly. You're expected to.
Yeah, and if you choose that, you have to.
You have to.
You have to.
You've taken on that responsibility, and you can't ever turn it down.
Choice.
You're a horrible person if you ever turn that down. If you ever decide that I don't really want, I mean, I don't, oh, it's going to be, if you're a stepdaddy, that's what I'm talking about. I mean, I'm talking to the ladies, okay? Stepdads will never have that form of love, that form of, you don't think about it. My children, right? My daughters.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have to think. If anything's ever going to happen to them, I don't have to think. It's instinct. I just do.
Mm-hmm.
There will be no question, and there's no limit. It just, now, if there's somebody's child, even if I have to have that split second of thinking, it's fucked up.
Right? Yeah. But it's going to be there.
You know what I mean? And just always, it'll always have to be there.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Some stepdads are great.
Yeah.
Get it?
I've got
They're
one.
good men.
My stepdad, fantastic dude. Fantastic dude. He met us all when we were all growing up though. You know?
See, that's different.
Yeah. So, you know, he didn't have any of that responsibility to worry about, but he still, you know, helped certain family members of mine when he didn't have to. And I mean, it takes a man to do that. Don't get me wrong, but he chose that responsibility.
Yep.
And that's something when you get with a single mom, you have to choose that responsibility. Do you want to be responsible for that? Not the fuck up, not being the kid, but the fuck ups the kid will make.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why I always say, if you're a single man, don't date single mothers. Date them. Don't ever take them seriously. They're there for one purpose. I mean, I let's be honest. I mean, I'm pulling back every layer. It's there for one purpose. And now, if you have children, it's a little different, because I have mine to be responsible for, and they have theirs to be responsible. When you both come onto the table at
exactly,
we have equal footing. They're going to have to deal with mama drama. They're going to have to. They got to accept it. And in return, that's equal for me to deal with daddy drama, right?
Yeah. It's a fair exchange at that point.
They are going to have to be responsible and nurturing to a certain point to my children. And as I am going to have to be, and they can't use that. Well, I really can't go out tonight because, this, my kids, because I got the same shit. Or they can't tell you, oh, you wouldn't believe how hard it was, the kids have just been horrible. I'm tired. I'm just, all this and have all this drama because I'm going through the same damn thing. My kids are with me 24/7. So they ain't nothing they got, you know what I mean? Yeah. How many times have you heard from single mothers? And I'm not okay, I am. But anyway.
A little bit.
Yeah, maybe just a touch. But how many times have you heard from single mothers about how hard it is and how much work it takes? And people just don't understand. And nobody wants to give them a break. They don't ever have, they got this and they always.
All the time.
Every freaking time. The deal is when they say it to me, I'm like, yeah, I understand. I have my kids too.
Yeah, it's hard for me to empathize with them.
Right up.
Yeah, so you can come at it with an equal footing, but with guys like me who's single, no kids, when they talk about that, it's really hard for me to get in that mentality to try and understand them and be empathetic about it because I'm like, what? How's that hard? I don't go through that, so I'm gonna enter that kind of thing coldly.
Yep. But they start, and like I say, they do a lot of the times. I have a bunch of friends that deal with this stuff, and they start with always saying how hard and how difficult and now it's a sympathy thing. Now, if you leave, you're a dick.
Oh boy, maybe
right? I mean, you know what I mean. So you kind of get somewhat latched on if you leave, you're a dick. Now you can't really leave, but you don't. So you got to, you know what I mean? It's a struggle in the mind. That's why I constantly say you can have love for a woman, even the woman you marry, you can have love for her, but you can never fall in love with her. Don't. The moment you do, you're going to do stupid shit. Dead serious. I will guarantee if 99.9% of shit that's happened over a millennia that men have done stupid shit has been for two reasons. Women, money. If you
women, resources.
Exactly.
I think we've got that famous story, Troy?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, the getting in there with the big old wooden horse.
Yep.
All for a woman.
Yep.
Granted, that was kind of a weird brother on brother kind of thing, but right? Was it brother on brother or brother on dad? I can't remember.
I'm not really sure. It was a kind of incest kind of thing going on. Like I say, when it gets into that kind of stuff, I was like, I really don't know if I want to deal with any of that.
Oh, here's a question I got for you. So my friends, I've got a thing where, if I call dibs, right? Or if I'm seeing someone, I want them to respect it and, not do anything flirtatious, stuff like that. And then if I'm done seeing them, I don't want them to, like if it was a serious one, right? I don't want them to try and entertain a relationship like that. I've met some men who will go right after their boy's ex-girlfriend.
Oh yeah. All the time.
And I think it's despicable.
It is. It's there's so many guys that are desperate. I mean, honestly, they're desperate. They cannot. They don't know how to find a woman. They don't know how to be attractive to a
They're
woman.
leeches.
So they grab onto anything they possibly can. Now, obviously, you know, I'm around men. We're doing our things. We're meeting and dating women, and yes, there is. You know, I guess I don't call dibs or any stuff like that. But if I'm talking to a woman, I expect that guy to stay the hell out of it.
Yeah, at the very minimum, stay the help out of it. And
You
if
know
it's
what I
your
mean?
boy, he's gonna hype you up.
Exactly. Now, if he doesn't stay out of it, well, obviously he isn't my guy. You know, he isn't for me.
Yeah, I agree, hands down.
You know what I mean? It's a serious respect thing. And then if I date someone, yeah, I mean, it goes to what we call bro code. I mean, afterwards,
Bro, that shit doesn't exist anymore.
I know. I'm just saying.
Anybody under the age of 27, I swear they don't have a bro code.
It's a bro code. I mean, the deal is usually it's what, 6 months. Don't mess with her for 6 months, or
ever
come ask me.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
Ask me.
Come ask and say, dude, I want to hit that. I want to, nail it. You know, whatever. I don't care.
Right, because at the very minimum, because we all know how some relations they get pretty messy.
Yeah,
you know, they're not together, but they're together. You know.
Yeah.
And if you're gonna be a bro to your friend over there, and you're like, hey, I know you weren't too serious with that girl. I'm thinking about asking her out. What do you think? And he's gonna be like, bro, I am like white on rice with her, bro. Still, we just not be in public. You just saved yourself a friendship.
Oh yeah, it definitely is a very, very real thing. And yeah, not very many people do it. And there's always, it happens. Guys will hit on the same girl you're hitting on, even your friends.
Well, it's a competition.
Well, to a point. And like I say, at a certain, I get it. Maybe one. You know what I mean?
Well,
you're talking.
If they're your friends.
Yeah.
I wouldn't say probably don't do it.
Well, I get it.
Other men.
I get it. Once. If they do it twice, 3 times, or they try to hit on all the women and try to push you out, you know what I mean? All right, you want to be a dick, be a dick. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. I ain't got time to spend around you. You know, there's got to be. It's like me. I don't go soak up all the oxygen in the room. You know, I'll talk to so. I'll talk to so. I'll talk to so. Oh, I'm interested in talking to you. You know.
Yeah, you remember when we.
And then everybody else can do whatever they want. You know what I mean? But this is what I'm doing.
Yeah, you're a social butterfly. There was when we were down at Wiley's. I'd come down in there, and you were like, I haven't talked to you in like 3 weeks because I hardly go out. And you just immediately grabbed that can of whatever, and we're men, so we're like,
Yep.
So, but you didn't try and belittle or outshine me, or anything like that. You were out having fun with your boys, and I was, and we know which girls we're hitting on.
Oh yeah, we all know. Mm-hmm. We like I say, we all know, and like say that if you hang out with a guy. You all know. Mm-hmm. I mean, you don't even have to say. You know who the one is. And the other one, she's a backup. Really. You know what I mean?
If you get to the backup first, all yours.
Exactly. Yeah, you want to take a backup, I take a backup. I'll find another. I mean, it ain't that hard to find. But it is a real thing, and you do have to watch out for a man. And we'll have to do a whole another show about all that crap. Dude,
you got to get me on a Discord or whatever it is, call for that one.
It's I'm gonna. There's gonna be. You got to break all this stuff down because people don't understand it. It's like I say, even us, we've had 2 hours of conversation
already.
Yeah, and we really haven't went real deep into anything. We've kind of,
we've
20-30% of the situation, and move through. So, to get each topic, you really, there's going to have to be, there's hours and hours and hours of talk because everything is extremely complex and people see it completely different until you say it. And then they're like, oh, well, that's not what a woman said. But just well, you don't listen to women. They don't even know where they want to eat. God. It couldn't freaking survive if it wasn't for us.
You know
Because
how
they'd starve to death.
exactly,
For
yeah.
Christ's sake.
How I've been navigating the where women want to eat, you know? I always give them three options. I'm like, hey, I know you like here, here, and here. Those are your three options. You've got an hour to make a choice, or I'm making a choice because you either want to eat with me or you don't.
Yeah, me, I'm even more cold-hearted than that. I'm just to be flat out honest. I know what I want to eat,
Mhm.
and I'm telling them I'm going to eat. They can
You wanna
either
come with or not?
they can either get in and come where and find something to eat where I'm going, or not. Okay, yeah, they're like, well, I don't want to eat it. Okay, I didn't ask you where you wanted to eat. I know where I'm going.
Yep.
You know.
You can come along or not.
And if I ever wanted to be nice, once in a while, I'm not saying nice. God, I'm going to get yelled at. But I have a little way that I do stuff is, and it works. If you don't know where you want to eat, right? But you're hungry, and as a guy, you really don't have a clue, and you're like, I'm not asking her. Because you know what it's going to be. I want to go here for this, and I want to go there for the. You'll be going to 10 different places because they want pieces for everything. Because it doesn't work. So you don't. What you do is you go up to your woman, you look at her and say, "Baby, guess where I'm taking you out to eat?" You got 3 guesses, and then she, what? No. You got 3 guesses, only 3. And then they're really think whatever their first pick is, that's where you go eat.
That's probably a solid choice to do.
Yep.
I could see it.
Because then the first thing is like, they say, well, I want to go here. You didn't even need all 3. You didn't know where you wanted to go, but that's what she picked. So you're like, yeah, I'll go there, whatever. Because that's where she wants to go, and you don't really give a shit because
You're just hungry.
You don't know where you want to eat. So, but yeah, we better get off of this and let everybody do their. Yeah.
Hooting and hollering.
Oh God, they're gonna yell. Yeah. All right, I'm ready for it. I got some big shoulders. I ain't worried. I can take it.
Yeah, I'm headed down to Texas, so I mean, you might take a full run.
Yeah, you're just like, I'm out, man. I'm heading to Texas. You're screwed. Now you're on your own.
Yeah.
Goodbye. I'm like, yeah, I'm hitting the road. So here I am. I'm screwed, man. I get it. No, but I ain't worried too much about it. But yeah, like there's going to be a lot more, being a lot of in-depth stuff, and there's a lot of things. There's a lot of issues that men don't talk about or don't know. Mm-hmm. It's because they like the guy I talked about that was dating the woman, and she kind of got him to change, and he goes, but that's what she said she wanted. They learn to, how can you say it, to try to be attractive to women through women that don't even know what they're attracted to. It's literally that bad.
We've got our biological difference.
Yeah.
We need to accentuate that for a reason. Be the man. Hey, if she's seeing you because you're doing what you're doing, don't stop doing that. First off, continue being a leader, doing what you're doing.
I'm not saying women don't need to be treated nice and treated like wonderful people. They are probably the most wonderful things on the face of this earth.
Oh, they're definitely better looking than we are.
Oh yeah, exactly. But I mean, honestly, women, I think that women are amazing, right? And they are great. But they can also be the worst thing on this earth. They can be horrible, horrible people, and they're losing that part of.
They're losing the charm.
Yeah, they're losing the. You know how women would be are very nurturing and nice. You talk about 40 years ago, very nurturing, very nice, very submissive, very feminine, very, they wouldn't even have thought of hurting people. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Now it's common.
Yeah. And just
Now
because,
it's like, how can I fuck this guy over?
yeah,
How can I get him to do what I fucking want? Watch this idiot, you know? They're losing their femininity, I guess.
hmm
They're who they are. They're being dudes, because we don't go to women and say, how can I screw them over? We're like this guy, I'm gonna go beat the crap out of him, watch this shit, you know, or whatever.
yeah,
You know, because we're dudes. That's what we do. But it's turning out to be a bad thing. I'm not liking the way it's going. So we have to, or I'm trying to get people to understand where they have to be and how to be attractive in this day and age, because nobody's teaching them. Most men are growing up without a father. If they grow up with a father, half of them, the fathers are too busy, you know, working all the time, doing whatever, and they don't have time to teach your kid anything about women, so he just throws them out there, and he just, you know, and then you got to learn from women, which you don't ever learn to fish from a fish. You learn to fish from a fisherman.
yep.
You know what I mean? Because the fish, he ain't telling you the truth.
hmm
You know, you don't fucking know.
All of my lines that I've used, I've learned from my grandpa, ironically.
Yep.
And they were all from the 50s and 60s.
Yes. It's
So
it's a completely different world now, but
as long as the men that we're producing now, which are very feminine in nature,
oh God.
as long as they can, as long as men can start being men, you know, go out there, you know, even if you're not hitting the gym or something, you know, go do some kind of workout, because it releases those endorphins. It makes you feel good about yourself. You know, there's a reason the military says embrace the suck.
Yep.
You know, if you're out there improving yourself when you don't want to, that's giving your willpower. That's your willpower in work. It's going to be noticed. It's going to be seen. Women find that attractive.
Yeah. I mean, one of the things I always say when people are like, oh yeah, this girl, I don't know. I've been talking to her. Well, she's always talking to 5 other people, because they're all talking to 5 other people when you first meet them. I mean,
Yep.
it's the way women are. Well, how do I stand out? What do I tell her? No.
Yep. That works every time.
Because ain't nobody else going to do that. She's either going to like you, which, you know, if she likes you enough, she's going to like you, or she ain't going to like you. And who cares? It's just a woman. They're not important.
Yeah, and it's hilarious what happens when you tell them no, because I told this one gal asked me if she could see my horse, you know.
Yeah.
And I was like, first off, I'm Vietnamese, so it's probably, you know, this big. I'm part of the 2-inch pinch club. Okay.
Yep.
Second, I already told you I didn't want to do anything, so get out of my house.
Yeah,
Told her to
sure.
leave, and she sent me an apology text message asking when we could hang out again.
Yeah, exactly. Because they don't take rejection. And, you know, like women always say, oh, well, you know, men's size, you know, they always say that. And they're like, oh, you just got, you know, little dick syndrome, or, you know, you got little, you know, you probably small, you know, they always trying to shame you in some way, right? When they're mad.
Oh yeah, that's why I make that joke. I'm part of the 2-inch pinch club. What do you get? Words.
But they don't understand that every woman feels different.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, every man might be different, and we all got the same thing, but it all feels different. Some are good, some are trash. I mean,
Here's a challenge we can do. We can find a post on Facebook that some woman's just going crazy about, doing typical overestimation of their market value.
Oh God,
we can do hashtag cavernous vag energy.
Well, yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll get freaking, yeah, boy, we'll have freaking, yeah, we'll get yelled at for that.
Oh,
Kicked off, everything canceled. Yeah, but they don't understand that it's not that important. I mean, don't get me wrong. I mean, we all want to get laid.
Oh,
we
dude.
all want pussy.
Oh, absolutely. That
there's 3.5 billion of them out there. So understand that they're not that important. I mean, and trust me, it doesn't matter tight, loose, yeah, this, that, whatever deal. They feel different. I mean, some are trash. Some can be tight and trash. Some can be loose and trash. Some,
shallow.
you know, you know what I mean? Some of it's trash, and you're just like, well, this ain't gonna work. I'm not gonna do this for the next 20 years. Bye. You know.
Yeah.
You know.
And in the same position, though, these men need to put themselves in the opportunity to pick among those women.
Exactly. You put yourself in an abundance,
Mm-hmm.
but you have to be a certain person to do that. have to be successful. You have to have drive. You got to have game. You got to have a little charisma. You got to have, everything that woman's looking for, at least in a little bit. You got to spread it broad. The worst thing I've seen is you got a guy that, let's say, is decent looking, that makes a little money, and that's it.
Okay.
That's all he got. He ain't figured out none of the other stuff, and he thinks that that's it, that he's something. Yep. He still needs to understand he ain't crap until he gets the rest, but he hasn't figured even out what the rest is yet. And so I sit back and watch that. I watch it quite often on a lot of things, and I just like, man, they're just never going to get it. Because once they get to a certain point, they think, boom, okay, now I got everything and I know everything. And then it takes about a year before they're like, dude, what else do I need to do? Like, all right, now we can start.
Yeah.
Now you're going to listen. And because he did a bunch, yeah, he, maybe had tracking, a bunch of women, but they were all trash women, or none of them really wanted to stick around, or, you know what I mean? They just, or they all wanted one thing, and it was, well, now when he starts he's like, man, this ain't working out. Okay, now we can start. Now you're going to find a quality woman.
Exactly. Quantity doesn't always equal quality.
No, I mean, don't get me wrong. I want quantity.
Quantity's good.
I love quantity.
Quantity's good.
That's the difference in the dating strategy. I, as a man, looking for quantity. As a woman, she's looking for quality, the very best she can possibly find.
Mm-hmm. So, I agree.
It's a lot of different aspects of a lot of stuff, but we better end this out here. You guys don't go too long, get bored, or maybe your notebook's getting full, all the stuff that you're going to pay it on me for. So, but before we leave, I do want to leave your business where we can get that in there, and then we'll actually put that in a description also. But
absolutely. Well, again, I'm Zach. Me and my brother Alan own Rabbit's Den Gaming up in Brookings, South Dakota, 424th Street. Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Digimon, Dungeons and Dragons. You need orders made, we can fill them. If you need to find stuff, we can find them. You need to sell stuff, we can buy them. Thank you.
All right, man. This definitely, guys, go check it out. It's a unique experience. You guys will enjoy yourself, man. They're cool guys. You can see Zach is awesome. His brother's going to be the same. You guys can just go up there, have a good time, and they'll actually have a lot of knowledge to talk to you. If you're into that stuff, hey, do your thing, man. Enjoy yourself, and but definitely check him out. I'll leave a description of the name of the store, the address, everything in the description, where everybody can look out. You gotta like and subscribe this goddamn thing, because we went like 2 hours, 10 minutes talking about stuff that's going to get me in a world of trouble that I am never going to live down. All right. So if I'm putting myself in that much trouble, then at least you guys could do it. Be like, I got to subscribe, because I want to see how bad it gets. Okay.
Exactly. There's no point of a shitstorm if you can't see it.
Exactly.
So you got to give that man some motivation to continue that shitstorm.
Oh yeah. I mean, you just want to see how many people are going to yell at me, and don't worry, when I get the comments and the emails and stuff, I'm going to make a collection of them, and yeah, we'll put out the greatest hits, and you know what I mean? It'll be a good time, because I'll guarantee it ain't going to work out well, but this is the way it's going to work. But thank you, Zach. Had a lot of fun. There was a lot of good discussions about things, and a lot of things we needed to bring to light. And I do like the fact that you like say he's a fine example of somebody that is building a success with a purpose and not backing down. It can be done. It doesn't take everything. So I just wanted to make sure everybody gets a good read, a good feel off it, and understand that it can be done. Just pick your purpose and stick with it. And there's always ways to make it happen. So with that being said, Zach, you want to say goodbye?
Well, I appreciate you having me on here, man. hopefully they get some lessons learned here.
Yeah, it probably won't happen. Most ain't gonna listen. They're just here to watch the disaster. But other than that, I'll check you guys out later. Definitely like, subscribe, make a comment, tell me what you really think, because hey, that's the way it's supposed to be. Don't hold back this time. All right. I'm gonna get out of here. You guys have a good time.